what's up, guys? Welcome back to Relationships, Romance, and Propaganda Podcast. I am filmmaker Imani Shakur, and this is author, actress Rachel K. Burke. Before I go any further, these are her books. Love Bites, Sound Bites.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, rock and roll love story. Get these, pick them up. They're good reads. We are the only podcast, which is a broadcast that exposes the truth and broadcasts the lies about everything, man. Sex, love, relationships, marriage. And we talk about it. We're the sexiest relationship podcast on the planet. We keep it raw and cut. We always tell the truth. rptalktruth@gmail.com is the email if you want to ask us any questions. And don't forget to follow us on social media. And don't forget to subscribe on ISENT Group Digital on YouTube. Okay. And today we are talking about, last week the yellow flags thing was really good. I like that. And the dating with kids thing too was really insightful as well. The week before. Today we're talking about the side guy and other women. I have been the side guy quite a few times. It's an interesting place to be, and I will touch on some stuff about it. And don't judge me, just saying that up front.
Yeah.
You know, it does happen sometimes.
Oh,
so
and same with me. I've been the other woman many times, more than the woman.
Right, the other woman more than the woman.
Yeah. I had a history before that, but I changed my ways about 7 years ago and decided to actually, find people that I was the woman. Right,
exactly. And I don't pursue. I think we talked about fetishes on that one episode. I don't pursue. Well, actually, I didn't really pursue it before either. I mean, you can't really pursue someone that don't want to be pursued, whether they're married or not.
Yeah, it just sometimes happens.
But a lot of these people want. You want to jump it off, or you want? I know we're kind of talking about it already, but you want to start somewhere?
I think you can. I mean, no, I was just gonna say I don't think people seek it. I think it's just when you have a connection with somebody.
Right.
It kind of manifests on its own.
Right. In all of my experiences, it was all of the women were not happy at all in their marriages.
Yeah.
At all. And I just happened to be the one they met who happened to be single, who happened to have an understanding. And some people may laugh at that, but I have to say that in all of those experiences, I always try to leave them having decided to move on correctly. In other words, when I did connect with these women and I was a side guy, I didn't just, go, okay, let me take advantage of this situation. She's not happy at home. She's, happy when she's with me.
Right. They seek you out.
Yeah. Even though that was the case, in those situations, I also encouraged them to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, after me, don't go. If you're not happy, move on. Like, fix it.
Yeah.
Every single one of them moved on and fixed it after meeting me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't just like hook up with them. And what was interesting about being the side guy, and this is what Nick Cannon says, why he says he loves being a side guy, is that is that I hate to say it, but sometimes it could be the best place to be because you don't have to worry about anything.
Get the best of both worlds.
You don't have to worry about any commitment if you don't want that. You don't have to deal with any issues. And usually the woman confides in you more than her own husband. And usually you know way more about her than her own husband. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll say
which is interesting.
I bet this is the case with you and with me also, because I said this to my friend Scott once. A couple years ago, I was like, I told him my situation, and because at the time I had an affair with a married guy, and he said, it's because you're just a nice escape. You know, it's like, because people there's so many emotions in marriages, right? There's anger, there's hostility, there's resentment. There's so much going on. And so it's like people like you and I that are just easygoing, we're probably just such a nice escape from that. It's like just probably so nice to spend time with somebody and not have to deal with all the negative emotions involved in something as complex as marriage.
That's exactly what I would be told. You're just a nice escape. That's exactly the word used, actually.
Yeah.
It was interesting, and it was, some people say, oh, it's dangerous, or it was dangerous, but I'm not that stupid. I made sure I didn't get myself in a dangerous situation. I mean, and as cynical as it may sound, and I've changed obviously since then.
Me too.
But as cynical as it may sound, I kind of enjoyed being that escape for them. You know what I mean? And it also all of these situations, Rach, also kind of jaded me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it showed me what women was capable of doing.
But I'm not
just blaming women, but in these situations, I was a single one, they weren't.
Right.
And I saw how easily they would lie to their husbands and be with me, and it scared the ish out of me.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, I was that guy.
Because I think society typically
who
thinks
they were
men
lying
cheat,
about. Right. I was that guy who they were lying about, and I would tell all of my friends, we always give women the benefit of the doubt, and I would tell my friends, what you think she's doing, she's probably doing.
Right.
Because I've seen it. I was that guy who she was doing it with, and I have to admit, it scared the living daylights out of me. And the reason why it did is because I was like, what if I'm with someone and who has a side guy? I would never know.
Well,
because these women's husbands, I probably would. But I'm saying these women's husbands,
your gut would know.
Yeah, that's true.
And if the guys don't know, it's probably because they're not trying to know.
I agree.
So like my ex was like the most non-spiritual person ever. Like no gut intuition, nothing. Yeah. Just like, I'm just going to go to work.
As intuitive as I am, I would know. You're right.
But he even knew. Yeah. Like after a while with his ex, he said, I just got this feeling something was up. And this is so, like I know him very well. This was so not like him. He said, because he's not a snoop. And he kind of is an easy guy to cheat on. I hate to say it. Because he doesn't pay attention to you. He's so stuck in his own head, in his own world. Because when we first started dating, I did cheat on him with the musician guy I told you about. It was the only time. But it was so easy to get away with it. He doesn't ask any questions. Like, do you have a good night at the concert? Cool. So this is what I did,
Right.
So he told me with his ex-wife, he just got this feeling that something was off and she was cheating. And he went through her emails and found emails between her and this guy that she ended up having that was having the affair. And I was like, it must have been glaringly obvious for him to find that, So I think...
Yeah, I mean, it would...
I think it'd be so much easier for you because you're obviously going to be more intuitive. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about the times when we would connect, he would think she's at school and what she's not.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
She would be... It's no way for him to go, well, she's not here. I mean, she would say, I'm going to Target and come meet me and hang out with me for 30 minutes, an hour, and still go to Target.
My grandmother...
But if it was me, you're right. I probably would know something.
You'd be like, where's her location at?
But not even that. I know, not even that. When she came back home, you're right, Ray.
But also, sometimes they might not care. They might have a side person.
That's true, too.
So my grandmother,
true
story, had an affair with a married guy ever since I was born. Like she was already split from my grandfather by the time I was born. True story. It's just so crazy to think about now. When I was probably like 5 years old, we were at the grocery store. And I mean, she saw this guy until he died. I mean, like every day he came over. And he'd been married forever, had grown kids who were adults.
She was a side woman. Okay.
She liked it. She was cool with it. He didn't expect anything of her.
That's what Nick Cannon was saying.
So crazy. Yeah. So I was like 5 years old. We were at the grocery store and I saw my grandmother's boyfriend. I go, Mom, there's George. And my mother was like, Rachel, you can't say hi to George. And I go,
when you look back at retrospect, yeah.
I go, what do you mean I can't say hi to George?
Right.
She goes, because he's with his wife.
Interesting.
I was like 5 years old.
And you're like, what?
Didn't get it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I wonder as an adult, I'm like, did that play a part in the fact that I did this as an adult? Like, because I grew up and that was socially acceptable.
Saw that it was socially acceptable. It could.
And my grandmother, like, she was an angel. I mean, she was the person who like volunteered at the food pantry till she died. Like, so sweet, never said a bad word about anybody. And it's like for someone so whole to do that, it's like you grow up like, oh, okay, that's just okay. You know what I mean? Because everyone's a product of their parents, right? So if you're raised a certain way, you grow up thinking that that's okay.
Yeah.
And my mom, when she met her husband that she's with now, she had an affair with him, and he left his wife to be with my mom. Yeah. So it's like, and I was young. I was like 14.
Yeah.
So it's like my whole life, the women in my life were my role models.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it was also just easy because you saying that made me think, have I seen that? And I haven't. So I think in my case, it was just easy and convenient. I was single. I happened to meet women that were unhappily married.
Yeah.
Who was attracted. Yeah. And it was just, I was the escape. And I didn't have nothing to worry about, like you say.
Right.
I don't know.
Unless you get her pregnant or STDs. But she's probably not doing that with anybody else.
No, exactly.
Diseases, so just don't get her pregnant.
That's another thing.
Right.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong. And Nick Cannon also mentioned this. It's rare that a woman who's doing that is going to have 2 or 3 side guys.
Yeah.
Because one is enough work.
I think men might.
Right.
You know, I think that wouldn't surprise me as much. But I think it's different because with men, I think you're going to be generally happy with just, having the physical relationship, whatever. As a woman, I think a lot of times we want more than that. You know, it might start out as sex, but eventually you want more.
Right.
And that guy is not going to leave her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think as a woman, I think we kind of might get into it for the wrong reasons. I did have 2 men actually who left their girlfriends to be with me.
Right. See?
But it was ugly, man. It's messy.
And in my case, they all were married, no girlfriends, all married.
But here's the problem with that, right? Someone leaves someone to be with you. They've cheated on them with you. You're always going to be thinking they're cheating on you with somebody else.
Absolutely. But that may not be always the case. And I used to always talk to them about this. There is a gray area. I mean, you know, especially in my case, these women had kids. So it wasn't easy for them to just go, oh, this isn't working, I'm gone. It was so much crap to be worked out. Right. And in their minds, they were like, what? While I work this out, I'm just supposed to be like unhappy and deal with this and not go enjoy someone. And that's the way they kind of viewed it.
Right.
So I was just that escape as they worked it out. And again, I would help them work it out in all of the cases, all of them. You know what I mean?
And it's like
it was deeper than just.
You don't know what goes on in anyone's marriage. Her husband might have a few side girls, you know, or like what I always used to think, like, because I had an affair once with a guy who was married and he was like 50, and I'm like, his wife probably doesn't want to even be physical with him anymore. Like, if you're both 50, like. She's probably over it. Maybe she's happy that he is like getting his rocks off with somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, the end of the day, but he also had a lot of money, owned a company. They had 2 kids. So it's like, I was like, you know what? She might be comfortable with her life. Right. The way it is, the kids, the money. Right.
It's too hard to break up.
And maybe happy that at the end of the day, he's not bugging her for some.
Yep.
You know, like you don't know.
That's what I'm saying. There's a gray area. That's why I don't judge. I mean, all these circumstances, and I would have friends that would be like, "Man, I don't saw you do that. You're crazy." And you know, what if you get killed? What if you get caught? I would get all this stuff, and I'm like, dude,
like Tony Soprano,
right? I'm like, dude, it's not that serious. It's not as complicated as you guys are trying to make it seem. Right. These aren't happily married women. It's like a dream.
There's like no strings.
Right? Just sees me, and then they want to smash. That's not the case.
So the guy I had the affair with was my old boss. And I didn't know he was married when I met him, in my defense. He didn't wear a wedding ring. on the weekends, he'd be like, oh, I have my kids on the weekends. Like he talked like he was divorced. So I fell for it. He started texting me. We go on this date. He ends up telling me he's married when I'm like a bottle deep in champagne. And I was like, well, you know, I'm already here. We didn't sleep together that night. But you know, eventually we just had so much chemistry. It happened. I'll tell you something though. It was nice. Because he had all this money, and sometimes he'd be like, oh, it's your birthday. He'd give me like $2,000 cash and stuff. I was like, oh, I got like a sugar daddy.
Right.
And I was like 20 something, like broke. Like I had just moved here.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh my God. Yeah. I know. Sometimes there's incentives there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's not, and I have to say, I like never felt like bad about it for the guy. I'm like, if this isn't working, this isn't working. I didn't even think about the guy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. I didn't either.
I'm like, what do I have to do with who you're unhappy with? That's not my problem.
Right.
That's your problem. I'm just here for the escape. And I didn't have to worry about anything after that. They would go home.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I'm terrible, but I didn't either. And I think, you know, I don't know, maybe people are just more empathetic than me. Because, you know, I've had friends that have given me a hard time. And it's like, okay, I don't know, maybe you would be thinking about that other person and feel bad for them. But I'm not, because I don't know them. And I don't know what their relationship is like. I don't know what their
relationship is like.
You know? Yep. Yeah, you don't.
Yep.
But no, I mean, like, to be honest, I started, this from like high school, like right around that time. Because I just like, you know, when you're a teenager and you're just selfish, you don't care.
Yeah, you don't care.
And you don't think anyone's going to find out, and everyone finds out, you know? It was like one of those like things that blew up in my face.
Right.
But when I was younger, I liked who I liked. And I wanted to be with them no matter what. And I hurt people. And it's just, sometimes you do that, and it's lessons you learn, right? But yeah, like the first guy I ever loved, I think I actually helped his relationship, because he had just started talking to a girl. They weren't like official yet. It was like that grace period. But he was one of those guys I would always love. And I saw he had a picture of her in his house. It was like their graduation, like when everyone would exchange pictures. And I was like, are you guys dating? And he goes, oh, I don't know. Like, we've kind of been talking a lot lately. And I ended up sleeping with him, and he felt terrible about it afterwards. And he actually said to me, he goes, you know, I do this all the time. I sabotage things, like when things are going good. And he started, like, he got serious with her shortly thereafter. But what happened was, like, probably a year or two later, it blew up because she found out. Because I told a friend of mine who got upset with me about something and told her. And she called me. He and I both denied it, basically. Oh, okay. But I wanted to be like, you know what? I actually think I helped your relationship, because he realized after we were physical that he sabotages things a lot, and he really like made an effort to make that work. Because he was kind of like very not monogamous. Like he loved a new girl every week. You know what I mean? Like wasn't really a relationship guy. She was like his first, like, I think serious relationship in high school. And I was like, I actually kind of helped that, I think. Yeah. You know? And then that had happened too with like my ex in Boston. He was with his son's mom for a long time. And like he and I had hooked up in high school. It was just one of those things, like it was going to happen eventually. Yeah. You know, we always liked each other. And when they were like on the outs, and we like got really drunk one night and got together. Yeah. And then he started calling me, and I was like, why is he calling me? And he eventually said, you know, you made me realize I haven't been happy for a very long time, and I'm going to leave her, and I'm going to move out. And when I do, I really like, you know, we can take it slow, but I really want to date you. And I was like, what? Like, this is bonkers. Because I didn't expect that. And it's so funny, because afterwards, when we got in a relationship, I said, what? Why did you want to date me? Yeah. When, like, didn't you think I was kind of a hoe? You know what I mean? Like screwing around with some guy who was a girlfriend. And he goes, because you just, like, you didn't expect anything.
Right,
and I always remember
See,
that.
that's what I'm saying.
Because he said I had no expectations.
Yeah,
because
that's the side woman.
And he was an Aquarius too.
Yeah.
Because I think he was so used to women like wanting something from him,
right.
being needy. And I think because I was just like, cool, bro, had fun. See you later.
Right.
And didn't call him, didn't expect him to call me.
Right.
And then it like I didn't mean to play a game, but I did. I like kind of flipped. And then he was like, I like her. How come she not calling me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. See?
Yeah, it was interesting. But what you were just saying about the wives who, you would be nervous about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with a guy and God, he's a terrible person. He was with a girl for like 6 years before me.
Mm-hmm.
We started working very closely together and I was like, oh man, I got it bad for him. And I told some coworkers we were all at a function for work drinking. Eventually someone told him. And so he was like, pulled me aside. We went out in my car and he was like, yeah, I really like you too. We made out in my car or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Imani, this guy kept up a double life for 6 months with me and this girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have never seen anything like it. Cause he was like so scared, I think, to leave her. Because he was such a creature of habit.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, I'm going to leave her, but we've been together so long. I got to go there. I got to get my things. Like, I'm really close to her family, this and that. And it was so every week, this went on for months. It was like every week, like, all right, I'm going to do it this weekend. And then he'd come home like, oh, they threw her nephew a birthday party. Her whole family was there. I couldn't do it this weekend. I'm going to do it next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the next weekend, he'd be like, you know what? I just want to spend the weekend with you. I'm just not going to go up there. I'll do it like the following weekend.
Yeah.
And like finally after weeks of this, I was like, you know what? Enough of this. I am so sick of it. Just call me when you break up with her.
Yeah.
And then he would, he'd go away and then he'd come back and then the cycle would start again. At one point, he was living with me for like 2 months and still had this girl. She lived in another state. So it was easy to do that.
Easier, yeah.
She was in like Rhode Island, so he would drive there.
Mm-hmm.
But he would be on the phone with her at my house. And I'd hear him in the other room like, oh, I miss you too. And I was like, this is so messed up.
That's what I'm saying. See, so I'm sure it's scary for you too. Like seeing what guys are capable of doing. Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like that. Like you're living a double life. You're living with another woman. And maintain a relationship with a girl that you have been with for 6 years.
Let me tell you.
There was no trust. After that.
Let me tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
So there's one who, she had, her and the husband had already split, not divorced yet, but split.
Yeah,
he had already kind of like moved out, but still had a key and this, that, and the other. And she had planned on actually seeing someone else one night when I went over there. And the other guy was afraid to come over because he was scared the husband would actually come home.
Right.
And I wasn't. I was like, when she told me that, I was like, okay, I mean, if you're not worried about it, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Because what's funny is we had gone on a date and then we were supposed to go on a date the next night. But she was like, you know what? I think I'm going to hang out with this other guy. And I said, okay, cool. Yeah. That's fine. I'm not tripping. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So then the guy canceled on it and she called me. I said, you know what? I'm still free. I'll come over. I was like, what if I come over? We have drinks, pregame there, and then we'll head out. Yeah. I get there. We start having drinks. She's telling me why the other guy didn't want to come. He was afraid. Yeah. And then, the pregame ended up in a game in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And the weirdest thing, you know what? It's funny. I take that back. I was the side guy to one girl who did have a boyfriend. There was one that did have a boyfriend. Okay. And I mean, and this girl is 30s, boyfriend was 50s. Okay. And I don't know. I honestly just think she had more fun with me. And I remember the strangest thing one time.
Your escape?
Yeah, I remember the strangest thing one time that we're at her place in her room, and a picture of her and her boyfriend is above the bed, and I'm like, and a picture of them two, and we're on the bed doing whatever. It was so strange. I swear to God.
A guy wanted him in his wife's bed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And like he was fine when we were downstairs. As soon as we got in the bed, he couldn't stay hard.
That's what I'm saying.
And I was
it messes with you. That didn't happen.
I was
but
so
I could
dumb.
imagine.
I was like 21, like just an idiot. But like, I think back then, now I'm like, how did I do that? Oh my God, that's terrible. Back at.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like in his house? No. Yeah. Like he should have just came to mine.
But see, this is what's funny. But you know what? I have to, it's one point I want to make real quick. You know, all these women are not all bad. Just because they cheated on their husbands with you does not mean that they won't leave their husbands and have a successful relationship with you. I just don't believe that.
Right.
I think a lot of them are stuck in gray areas. If they get that thing that they're happy with, they won't do that. A lot of them just escape because they were unhappy. Well, it's not that they are cheaters or
I think men can,
serial cheaters.
Men can be a little different because
men can be a little different. Probably
my old boss that I had an affair with. I found out after the fact that he had an affair before me with a girl for many years. That was a friend of the girl that had worked there. So I think he was definitely a serial cheater because that can happen with men with money. They feel like this sense of power and entitlement.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny is I didn't stop with him until I met my ex, and then I've never done that since.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, you know what? I actually met like a decent guy. I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same with me. Yeah, I haven't done it in years.
But it's funny because he just started texting me again.
Interesting.
And it's like, okay, there's a difference between being in your late 40s and your late 50s.
Right.
You know, it's like when I first moved here, he was like 49, he was handsome, but now I'm like, you're almost 60. I don't think I'd even be into that anymore.
Exactly.
You know?
Way older now. Yeah.
But you know what can happen too is like if, you know, in these circumstances, like I had two where these guys left these women for me. I feel like you go into it like it's not good because of the trust. So what happened with the first guy that left his like 6-year relationship for me, it's like both of these guys were so afraid that they were going to get bit by karma and that I was going to cheat on them that they like manifested that to happen.
Right.
Swear to God. Like
because
he was like just terrible to me and we were always like off and on. And I finally was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I went to Mexico with a girlfriend of mine, hooked up with a guy. He was the tape recorder in the car guy that found out.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. I remember that story. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like he just like manifested that to happen. And then my other ex, the one that had said I had no expectations, left his kid's mom. We started dating 2 months later, cheated on me with his kid's mom. And he never did it again. I'll give him that. But he basically begged and pleaded with me until I got back with him. So I finally did. But he was so, like, same thing, was so afraid I was going to cheat on him. The whole time he became like a shell of himself. Like he became so insecure, like stopped going out with his friends. He would just wait for me. Like he'd want to go out with me all the time. And I ended up kissing the guy from the band. Yeah. You know, it's like, so I just feel like nothing good karmically comes of it. Yeah.
I definitely agree. I mean, I've never taken it serious when I was in a situation like that.
I think
I just took it for what it was. I never worried about anything.
Sounds like you were just more on a physical level.
Yeah, that's it.
But I think if one of those women left her husband for you, it could be
I don't know how I would respond to that. Right.
Because I don't think you're going to trust her.
Yeah, I don't know if I could
because you saw the double life she was living. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll be tough.
And let me tell you, oh my God, I'm going to tell you 2 quick things. That karma is a real thing. So the guy that was with the girl for 6 years before me. So she lived in Rhode Island, right? Not even Massachusetts. So she lived hours from me. She was Asian. Her nickname was Bunny.
Bunny.
So that was all I knew about her. She was Asian. Her nickname was Bunny. That was it. So he and I dated for about a year. Broke up because I went to Mexico and cheated on him. Yeah. He got back with Bunny. Of course he did. Right. Creature of habit. He's still at that same company. He's still with her.
That's so funny.
So I go shopping one day. And I go to this mall that's like about 45 minutes away. But it's a really great mall, like 3 floors. And I go to a store and I'm picking out jeans and the sales girl's helping me pick out jeans. And I go to pay for them. So she found out about me, by the way. Yeah. She went through his phone bills when we were together and found out my name, everything. So I go to pay for the jeans. And the girl, she's Asian, looks at my name, my credit card. And like her whole demeanor just changes. And she gives it back to me. And I was like, that's weird. I look at her name tag. It says Bunny. It was her.
That's crazy.
What are the chances? This girl lives in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And all I know is her nickname,
Right.
not even her name, and that she's Asian. And I was like, and my heart stopped. And I was like,
that's crazy.
Oh my God, this is her. I still worked with him at that time. And I passed him in the hallway on Monday. I go, hey, was that her? He goes, yep. And I said, did she know that was me? And he goes, yep.
Yep.
And he said, you know what the crazy thing is? He goes, I was there too. He was at the mall at that same time. Thank God I didn't bump into him.
Yeah.
What are the friggin' chances?
Yeah, man.
Other story, and I mentioned this to you too, when I was like 18, like my first job out of high school, I worked with this guy who was engaged. I did not care he was engaged. I was so in love with this guy. I had a dream about him like a couple of weeks ago, maybe because we were talking about it. I still to this day think about him. He's like no social media. But yeah, I was 18, he was 30. He was like so much older than me. And so he lived, Massachusetts is a pretty big state. He lived like the other side. He's 12 years older than me. We're not going to know any of the same people. And still I worked like an hour away. I was like working in the city.
Yeah.
So we start sleeping together, and he comes over one day, and we've been sleeping together for like months, and he sees a picture of my friend from high school, and he's like, I know her. So it turns out his fiance was like, yeah, my friend's brother's godmother or something crazy. And I was like, no way. So of course, like teenage girls, they don't keep secrets from each other.
They sure don't.
He was like, you can't tell her. I was like, yeah, of course not. Please. I'm like, did he leave the driveway yet?
Yeah.
Not going to believe this.
Right.
My friend was like, you have got to be kidding me. Because she knows him. He's over her house for Christmas. I've been talking about this guy for months. She had no idea. What are the chances a teenage girl, 18-year-old girl, is going to know a 30-year-old's fiance who lives on the other side of Massachusetts? Right. So, of course, my friend tells her mom. Her mom tells the fiance.
Oh, my goodness.
Imagine finding out at 30 years old your fiance sleep with an 18-year-old.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So karma's a real thing, guys. Yeah. Be careful out there.
It is.
But yeah, you do. You got to be a little careful in those situations. It can be tricky.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely can be.
Yeah.
Like I said, I always would try to do the right thing in those situations, man. Whatever the right thing was, I always would.
I feel like as you get older, though, it's different because, and especially like nowadays too, because now, like, I think open relationships is becoming more common, right? Because I know this guy who's like in the music industry, and I've met his girlfriend. She's like super pretty. She's way cuter than him. And I just saw him on Bumble last night. And I was like, are they still together? And just on his Insta story, he posted a thing of her yesterday. I'm like, I think they're still together. But I was like, oh, maybe they have an open thing. You know?
Which I think is an excuse for just getting extra side trim.
But if you're both okay with that, that's okay.
For both. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's an excuse for both.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's cool if the guy is like trying to talk the girl into it. And then she's not cool with it. You know what I mean? Like both people have to be okay with it. Because obviously, you know, I think more so men than women like variety, you know? So
which we did a whole podcast about this, guys. You can go back and check it out.
We did two of them actually.
About open relationships.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to those.
I know. I saw they just came out on social media. Yeah. I was eating my popcorn.
Oh, they did? What did they say on social media?
They announced that they were open.
I thought they had already.
No.
Jason Serious? I thought they did already.
No, I watched it on Facebook. There's a whole thing that blew up with her brother.
Oh, you know what it was? It was on the dating app. They would say
yes.
It. But you're right.
But their friends and family didn't know.
Oh, so they came out with it on social. Interesting. I haven't even been looking.
They both did. They both had like the same coming out message.
What does it say? Is it on Instagram
and Facebook?
I want to read that.
Go on Facebook because Instagram everybody's supportive.
I don't have them on Facebook.
Jason added me on Facebook after we did that.
Yeah, I don't have them on Facebook.
Well, that's the more. I mean, if you want to read the more controversial comments, Facebook's going to be the one to go to.
Oh, what did they say?
Her brother is not happy, like his brother-in-law.
Oh, what did he say?
Oh, a whole lot. It's bad. Like they're.
I know we're kind of going off topic for our audience, but not really. It
has to do with open relationships.
Exactly, because it has to do with
Like you made a commitment to my sister to do this, and that, and
right.
You know, he was like, we came to this agreement together, but it's
Oh, is this the photo when they did it?
Yep, that's it.
Oh yeah, because I was wondering because I didn't read it.
Yeah.
We're coming out.
Yeah. So
where's the rest of it?
Because it says read comments. So he did like a comment.
Oh,
that's just,
okay, I see.
Like the first one is the whole thing. Yeah, but everybody on Instagram I think was very supportive. But you know how Facebook is more families and it's a little more traditional. So, but it was interesting because her brother was ripping on him, but it was like when he actually talked to us, it sounded like it was actually her idea, remember? Because he asked her like what her fantasies were and they involved other people and that was how it started. So it's like, I feel like women are so quick to judge other women and men are so quick to judge other men. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would, yeah.
But I remember him saying on our show how he broke the seal. Remember he said that? He literally used those terms.
Like to other people or?
Right. Well, no, broke the seal meaning she was willing to be open now.
Yeah.
Remember him saying that I finally broke the seal? Remember he said that on the show?
Yeah, maybe. Well, I think because maybe they were just her fantasies and she didn't actually think that was a reality.
Yeah.
That's my guess. Yeah, it's a long episode.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway, guys, I'd have to go back and read because we actually interviewed this couple on the show about open relationships. So I did see this post but didn't read it because a lot of times I'll see something on Instagram and just float by it. I won't even, you know what I mean?
Right.
If it's something that really doesn't interest me, I don't get into it.
Yeah.
So that's why. But thanks for telling me. Now, only because I know them and we did the show, and I'm gonna definitely read it now. I'm gonna have to find it on Facebook.
I feel like Instagram people are more with the times. Facebook is a lot of.
Is their page open on Facebook?
If it isn't, I would add him.
What is it, Jason?
Yeah. Philpott.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go. You got it.
That's funny. I don't see it.
Oh, it's weird. Oh, I'll help you find it.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I don't want to kill the show talking about them, but maybe it's this the person with his daughter.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Wait, no,
that's not it. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
I'll find it. I'll just put Temecula. That's how I'll find it. Anyway, anything else you want to touch on this subject?
No, I mean, I think it's just different now. I think with open relationships.
Yeah, that's a more open, trustworthy way of doing it. I guess.
Yeah.
Instead of going behind the husband's back.
I think if you're unhappy but you want to stay in your marriage, maybe
propose that.
Yeah, approach that with your partner.
Approach that with your partner instead of hanging out with me or her back then.
Right. I know.
Just approach that with your partner.
Back then, that wasn't socially acceptable. Like you didn't really hear about open relationships, and I feel like the way the world is going, it's a little bit more acceptable now.
It's a little more acceptable now.
Yeah.
Right. So. Okay. Is that it, Rach?
That's it. That's all.
On the side, got another
all my stories.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even tell a lot of mine, but no need to. I think we talked about it enough.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of those days, but I don't regret it either. You know what I mean?
Me neither. It is what it is.
It is what it is,
it's all
man.
A learning
it's life experience. Yep, it's all a learning experience.
It is, yeah.
That's all. Anyway, guys, that would be our show today. It's Relationships, Romance, and Propaganda Podcast with Imani, Shakur, and Rachel K. Burke. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe on ISENT Group.
We're almost at 1,000 on YouTube, guys. Subscribe.
Yep. Listen where you get your podcasts. We're everywhere. And thanks again, like always, for joining us. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Bye.